What is going on, all brave Exvius players? Today we're doing the banner review for possibly the last non-Neovision banner worth pulling on, barring some global exclusive surprises from the anniversary stream coming out this August. This is going to be Final Fantasy XII banner review with Dancing Heart Pinella and Freedom Seeker Vaan. Receive some global exclusive buffs, so let's get in here. Thank you guys so much for joining us today, as well as thank you so much for those of you who choose to support the channel via Patreon, as well as the YouTube channel membership. Let's get in here. Let's start off with none other than Seeker of Freedom Vaan. So very strong support character. Chain family here is only Aurora Ray. A lot of his stuff is chain finishing, but he is predominantly a support breaker style character that offers some supplementary damage for your team. Does a lot of cool stuff. So let's get in here. His Stmr is a Brother's Sentiments. Increases physical evasion by 20%, resistance to paralysis by 100%, as well as 50% true dual wield. So this allows him to offer up a little bit of damage from his TMR with the true dual wield, as well as some physical evasion, 20%. The paralysis, a little bit on the side. It's a fantastic TMR if you're working for an evasion build. And if you're trying to do this weird thing that Vaan can do, where he can do damage and be your evade and your draw attack tank, it allows him to do that very well as well. And then his Stmr here is the Durandal. I know a lot of you guys have been waiting forward to this. 163 attack, one-handed sword with the effect of Well-Forged Blade, which gives you 30% dodge as well as 30% draw attack. So very, very strong Super Trust Master reward, giving you the draw attacks in conjunction with that 30% dodge. Especially for those of you who missed out on the Moogle Charm, this might be worth going for. You know, it'll work for you, but it might be worth going for because you don't have that 50% draw attack accessory. Well, you can go ahead and use this. Right, this weapon in conjunction with like a 20% draw attack accessory, which we've gotten from the anniversary rewards, and then use it on a character who has 50% natural draw attacks, and you are there at 100% draw attacks. So very strong Super Trust Master reward as well. Weapon selection: daggers, swords, katanas, throwing weapons, as well as the shoot type weapons. Large shields, small shields, hats, clothing, and light armor there. Let's get into his stuff here. So right away you will see 5-star level 30, 75% attack, defense, magic, and spirit break for 2 turns to all enemies there. This is going to be one thing you're going to be seeing here. His mainstay skills: breaker, evasion, mirage is what you're going to be seeing there for him, and then in conjunction with that, chain finishing damage. So this one's small, 15 times multiplier, nothing amazing. Thief's Attraction gives him 100% provoke, so if you don't have the draw attacks build, you can use this as one of the skills you're using on him every turn to draw those attacks to him anyways, disregardless of the gear you have for him. And if he's 100% evasion, he's provoking for you in conjunction with the breaks and the other support things that he does there. So very strong there. He has Revive, which allows him to revive a KO'd ally at the cost of 20% of his own HP. Assault Strike is a 6-turn cooldown, available on turn 1. 40 times chain finishing mod that removes all buffs, specifically buffs from a single enemy there. So very strong. It's going to leave all your debilitating effects on an enemy and allow you to go right on ahead and remove all of the beneficial things right off the enemy while doing a little bit of damage there. He also has a fire and wind Achilles here, which can be a little bit of chain finishing damage, but also has a fire or a wind, depending on the skill you're using, 120% imperil for 4 turns. Full breakdown is a 80% attack, defense, magic, and spirit break for 5 turns to a single enemy, as well as doing a 20 times mod chain finisher skill here. And this is a spammable skill, so if you're fighting enemies that constantly buff themselves or spell themselves or have break resistance for some reason, you can use full breakdown to just spam 80% breaks on that enemy. And if you want to, right, if you go ahead and triple cast this skill with this triple cast, triple quickening sword, you can go ahead and apply this to up to 3 different enemies for all of the actions on your turn. We have a red spiral, 35 times mod chain finishing skill. As you can see, double and triple cast. He gets double cast at 6-star, triple cast at 7-star. Earthen Eruption, 4-turn cooldown, available on 1. 250% attack buff for himself with a 40 times chain finishing skill. And then it increases the multipliers of Fire Achilles, Full Breakdown, Red Spiral, True Fire Achilles, True Wind Achilles, and Wind Achilles, which allows you to see, you know, he's going to have some unlocked skills there, but it's going to increase them by a 10 times multiplier as well. On top of that, we have one of the most important skills that he has access to, Jade Parry. This is a 4-turn cooldown, available on turn 1. Very strong skill. So 4-turn cooldown. When you cast a skill, it's going to negate 1 physical attack for 1 turn to all allies. Not that big of a deal, right? But then auto cast, negate 1 physical skill for 1 turn to all allies the following turn. It also auto cast that the turn after that, as well as auto cast that the turn after that. So what does this mean? It means it's on a 4-turn cooldown. It's going to negate AoE Mirage, your whole party, every turn for 4 turns. So you cast this 1 time, and you're safe from 1 single AoE every turn for 4 turns. When that effect wears off, you will be able, to use Jade Parry once again. So this is a 100% uptime skill that you only need to use 1 turn every 4 turns. So very strong effect there. You don't need someone to just sit there and spam an AoE Mirage every turn. He's going to have to do it 1 time every 4 turns. And then we have his AoE, single target, Auroral Ray, 25 times mod to a single enemy. Nothing insane, but right, we know Auroral Ray, Dark Visions, they go hand in hand there. So his LB here, sorting down here, is going to be the true Pyroclasm with him flying in on that spaceship. It's going to steal some items. It's going to be an 85% attack defense, magic, and spirit break for 2 turns to all enemies, as well as a 130% fire and peril for 2 turns to all enemies, as well as a 55 times multiplier chain. Not chain finishing, but you can chain weave this in because it's an 8-hit skill. The limit burst there at the cost of 34 limit burst crystals. He has access to Libra for you monster hunters out there. And then we have access to his passives here. So we have a lot of attack in his kit and a great deal of amount of both defense and spirit here, especially if you're equipped with a heavy or light shield. So very strong, as well as 100% true double hand, as well as 50% true dual wield, and then 100% beast and human slayer. And then here's the Sistre Resistance here. There's a couple of things that are the Sistre Resistance. 40% passive physical evasion, immunity, poison, disease, paralysis, as well as petrification. He is able to dual wield weapons and has the 6 times multiplier dual wield chain cap finisher skill there. 200% LB gauge fill rate, 3 LB gauge per turn, 5 MP refresh per turn, 100% gil when stealing an item, as well as 100% rare and common rare item drop. And then he also auto casts Unleashed Power, which gives him the full limit burst as soon as the battle starts, so you can fire that powerful limit burst off right away. And then he auto casts Undaunted Courage at the start of the battle, 1 and 2. So this is going to allow you to fire off True Fire Achilles and True Wind Achilles right away. True Fire Achilles can be the 130% fire and peril. True Wind Achilles can be the 130% wind and peril, and it re-unlocks the skills there for yourselves there. And you are going to need to be activating this Trust Master ability if you want to have access to the 30% defense, as well as the 30% HP, 50% high tide, 3 LB gauge per turn, and the immunity to paralysis and petrification. So he's a very powerful breaker, damage dealing, tank support type character. That's why he's been so hyped up and looked forward to by the community of Brave Exvius. Does a lot of a lot of things all in one unit, especially if you get his Stmr, the Durandal. You use his TMR, you use the Durandal, you get him some draw attacks gear, you build him up for a little bit more evasion. Remember, the TMR gives him 20% dodge, the Stmr gives him 30% dodge, he has 40% dodge, so he needs 10% more evasion. That's 100% dodge. You give him a little bit of more draw attacks, or 70% more draw attacks from gear in addition to the Durandal. And he's there breaking for you, miraging for you, chain finishing for you, adding that supplementary damage, doing the 130% fire and wind imperils for you so you can increase your damage, as well as tanking for you with that 100% draw attacks build. Or remember, he also has that provoke for you as well in his own base kit in conjunction with his triple cast to allow you to do all of that stuff all at the same time. So he's a fantastic character for you guys to go after here if you're looking for someone who does all of these things like Seeker of Freedom Vaan. Now, the next character we're talking about is Dancing Heart Pinella, who is a very weird character for you guys here. She is a supportive slash damage dealing character. She has Chaos Wave Awakened as her primary damage source, but she also has access to Auroral Ray. Her TMR is the Desert Bloom, which does give you 50% true double hand magic as well as 40% increased magic. Her STMR is the Rabanastra Dancer's Clothing, 71 magic and 40% magic. So this is actually giving you a lot of magic in the body slot, and this is clothing, not a robe. Moving into her kit here, it's pretty simple but also kind of complicated. Alright, so we're gonna go over Miss Faraga, Miss Blazaga, and Miss Dartga. These also get benefits and changed into better skills after you use a skill called Channeling, which is one of her cooldown skills. But the base versions of these skills are going to be 36 to 37 times multiplier. You can have a fire version, an ice version, and a dark version for you here. They're also going to be a 100% in peril for each respective element, fire, ice, and dark. The upgraded versions for you are going to be 130% in peril, as well as a 46 times multiplier, and they are going to re-unlock themselves the Blazaja, whether it's Miss Blazaja, Miss Faraja, or Miss Darkja, depending on the versions of the skills that are you using there. Excuse me, you are using there. A little bit of a slip up there, but we also have access to some other ways to do some massive damage here, as well as some supportive aspects. So we have Miss Shelga, 30% magic damage mitigation with a 150% spirit buff to all allies. A small heal here with Miss Kiraja, very small. Miss Banish, which negates 2 physical attacks for 3 turns to 1 ally. Then we have a little bit of a side support break here with Mincing Minuet, which is a 70% attack, defense, magic, and spirit break for 2 turns to a single enemy. It also deals 5% of your own max HP to yourself. This is also a 35 times multiplier, but it's a physical attack that deals magic damage, which is useful because the Blazaja, Faraja, and Dartga skills also imbue you for those respective elements if you want to utilize the skill in that way. It's sort of a side thing. It's not really her whole kit and caboodle. She's not like CG Ace. She is not like the new Type 0 version of Rem. This is the only skill that actually utilizes those imbues from those skills. Now, she also has double cast and triple cast Mist Magic, which gives her triple and double cast for all skills except for Luminescence. Channeling, which is the cooldown skill that buffs up the fire, ice, and dark skills we talked about, is a 3-turn cooldown available on turn 1, 250% magic buff for 5 turns to the caster, and restores 20% of your max MP. Ardor is her next cooldown skill, 3-turn cooldown available on 1, 130% fire and peril for 4 turns to an enemy, 65 times multiplier to 1 enemy, and increases the multiplier of Miss Faraga / Faraja by 10 times for 99,999 turns to the caster. This is also Chaos Wave Awakened, just like the other skills. Her only Auroral Ray skill is Luminescence, which is a physical attack that deals magic damage there. 25 times multiplier, nothing insane there for her. As we go into her passive selection, we have a fair amount of defense and spirit if you're equipped with a heavy shield. Otherwise, she rarely gets any defense and spirit at all. Just a tiny amount, but nothing extraordinary there. A good amount of magic, as well as a ton of true double hand magic. 250% true double hand magic, 50% true dual wield magic. But what do you know? She does not actually have the ability to dual wield weapons, so you're gonna have to work extra hard to make her a true dual wield mage. She also has 100% killers for magic damage versus beasts as well as humans. She is immune to charm as well as confusion and has 150% LB gauge fill rate. Now, her LB is Resplendence, which is 130% ice and peril for 5 turns to all enemies, 250% magic buff for 5 turns to the caster, and increases the multiplier of Miss Blizzaga as well as Blizzaja by 6.0 for 99,999 turns, and does a 55 times multiplier in ice damage to all enemies, and unlocks Miss Blizzaja for 3 turns to the caster. How good is this character? Do you need her over the lovely Bahamut Darkfina, the CG Ace, the new Rem from Type 0? No, no, definitely not. Definitely not. You do not need this character over those characters. If you're a fan favorite of Pinella, though, she'll be pretty okay in the meta. She's not game breaking. She doesn't have quadracast. She's not using physical killers and is able to imbue all elements and isn't super flexible. She's way worse than those characters that just came out, but you'll be okay with her. That being said, she pales in comparison to Neovisions, who are on the horizon. She is a dollar, door, dime, whatever you want to call her, damage dealer out there in the universe here. But Freedom Seeker, I want to call him Freedom Seeker Vaan, but it's Seeker of Freedom Vaan. They reversed his name for Global. Seeker of Freedom Vaan definitely will last you a long time, able to dodge those single target attacks, tank them all up, give you those nice breaks, give you those nice mirages. So if you are lacking a breaker, he might be worth pulling for you there. I'd only pull for Pinella if you absolutely just like the character. For the character, like we always say, pull for your favorites. I know a lot of you Final Fantasy 12 fans out there have been waiting for your chance at some 5-star / 7-star characters. This is your chance there. But we have a lot of news to go over, I'm sure, for the anniversary, for the 4th anniversary in August. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you guys for spending a lot of time here. Once again, thank you guys for the support via Patreon. Those of you go way beyond the line, the call of the support on Patreon, as well as the YouTube channel members. And until then, guys, stay safe out there. Drink that water, wash your hands, maybe make some coffee for me, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, guys.